Today is Good Friday, so wishing you Good Friday. Today I would like to touch on one of the topics that I find that I personally find that is very useful, because sometimes when your mind, that you're sometimes in life that you see is when you meditate, and it's very difficult, and it's so very difficult to be peaceful, and your heart, your mind have lots of conflicts, lots of angers and lots of hurts. And I find that's one of these contemplations and reflections on one of these qualities that actually I find that it's very useful to help us in life. So this is today I'd like to touch upon this compassion. So because sometimes we think that we have these conflicts, and actually the inner peace actually is within ourselves, and we look at the world, and actually how we relate to the world actually is very much reflect to our inner world, the outer world, because this is how we feel. When we have these hurts, harmed, it's just some things that that we just couldn't. A loss of pain and suffering in ourselves, and we find that it's just someone have done us wrong, and we go on and on and on, and we couldn't forgive, we couldn't let go. So that's compassion. Actually, compassion is a very good contemplation, and to develop this compassionate heart actually gives us lots of happiness and also calm. So what is the definitions of the Buddhist definitions of compassion? Is it that you see a dog, oh poor thing, and this dog, I take it home, you feel pity for the dog. This is what is meant by compassion? Or we get overwhelming, that's this poor thing, and then you get involved and we feel so much pain. I remember when I was in Hong Kong, and one lady, she spoke to us, and she said that in the early days she used to practice compassion. And she find that it's very difficult when she tried to develop this compassionate heart. And she finds that she's a bit overwhelming, and she's have a lot of pain. She feels sadness, grief, and she says she can't. She have to stop that. So that's why then that is not really what is meant by compassion. Actually, someone you are truly compassionate. You are peaceful. You are calm. You are wise, and you are happy. That is what is meant compassion. So if we are getting involved, actually we already get involved, become emotional. Then that is not compassion. That's why whatever practice that we take up, we always have to accompany by wisdom. So we cannot separate this wisdom and compassion. Because a lot of people, when they come to listen to the Dhamma, they tend to swing into to the other end, So when they practice loving kindness, and they become loving kindness freak, and they practice generosity, they become generosity freak, and they practice compassion, they become compassion freak. Even we have people come to monastic life, then because in monastic we have to keep this monastic rule, the Vinaya rule. Then they becomes a Vinaya freak and causes ourselves lots of suffering. Because we have someone that she's a generosity freak, and then she like to offer lots of things. She have no saving for herself, nothing. So, like for example, like sometimes like things at home need to repair, she have no money to do that. So, and we started to tell her that the monastery, we what you offer is the most important is your heart. It's not the things that you offer. You don't have to offer lots of things. I said it's no need. And she said, oh, it's okay. I'm living in the moment. I just let go. I just give whatever. So I just live in the moment. Whatever come to me, I just go according to my karma. This is not what the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha's never taught that. Actually, one of the suttas the Buddha's mentioned that, that we need to have saving. 1/4 to put into saving for when in the future what we need. When we get sick, we need the money for emergency use. And one part, to spend, one part for investment, and one part to practice generosity. And not the use of all, because we tend to we swing to the other part because of we don't have the wisdom. That is the wisdom part. The wisdom is not the knowledge, is not the IQ. It's the wisdom is the direct knowledge, knowing things as they truly are, through our own experience, through our own realization. It's not the IQ, it's not the reasoning, the logic. And talk about IQ, it reminds me of a joke that's and there were 3 ladies. And these 3 ladies, one is Russian, one is American, and one is blonde. So 3 of them. So the American said, the Russian said, we are the first one in space. Then the American lady said, we are the first one land on moon. Then the blonde said, so what? We are going to be the first one to land on the sun. And the American and the Russian look at each other, they shook their heads. They think that, oh, you're really silly, you idiot. How come you land on the sun? You'll be burned up. Then the blonde looked at 2 of them. No, I'm not stupid. I'm not silly. Look, we are going to go there at night. So it's all right. So because if we don't have the IQ, it's fine. Because now they say EQ is more important than IQ. So if we can develop our EQ, so we really help us through life. Because IQ is only help us through the school. You have to pass the exam. But EQ help us through our life. So EQ is much more important. So it's okay if our IQ below average is fine. So, there's hope because we can develop this compassion. Because compassion is one of these spiritual qualities the Buddha mentioned. That is the emotional side. That is really help us in life. So we have hope. If the IQ is below average, it's fine. So now we have hope. We can develop this EQ. So EQ really help us. So according to the research, people having EQ, they are more successful in life than those having high IQ. Like according, most of these autistic, child, they have very high EQ. But they can't manage the emotion. They don't have the personal skill. They don't have the personal interaction skill. They don't have the those who do have this emotional, intelligent EQ. They have this 4 ability. That is, they have the self-awareness, the self-management, be able to restrain oneself, to know that this behavior is no good and that causes this problem. They be able to manage that. They have this self-discipline. And the other ability they have, that is to be able to have this social awareness, to understand that the other person, like this person is upset. This is not the right time to say something. So you have this social awareness and you have this social management. You'll be able to, to have this social skill. So this is very important. So actually, all this, actually is in this spiritual quality. So this is compassion. This is one of those. So that's why it's important. There is a lot of people tend to practice compassion. they move to the opposite side. And it becomes like, they criticize others and they think that other people are not compassionate. I'm so compassionate. And it reminds me one of the incidents that happened many years ago in London. And one of these, there's a group of these compassionate freak. So they're so compassionate to these animals. So they love animals so much. So they have this self-hatred. And no, not self-hatred, they have this self-righteousness towards those people, the doctors, that they do this experiment. They use these animals for experiments. So one of these group, they put a bomb under the car of one of the doctors. This lady doctor, she's doing all the experiments using those animals. So there's so much hatred. And this morning, these lady doctors with the daughter, they went into the car and two of them been blown up, They die. They kill this, And the daughter is so innocent. But people think that they're so compassionate. They have compassion towards the animals, have no compassion towards the people. So they say sometimes we tend to identify ourselves that we are compassionate. So sometimes when we have that, when we started to get upset, when someone make us angry, so when we are angry, we look at ourselves. So next time when we pay attention to our anger, how is it feel like? The heat, the agitation, the irritations, the burning, boiling, the kind of feelings. How is it like? So we pay attention. We understand ourselves, understand our anger, look at our anger. Is it any different? We share the same experience, isn't it? With our enemies, those who upset us. So we have the same anger, but sometimes we tend to judge others. We think that this happened to others. It's easy for us to judge, to say they are wrong. But we look at ourselves. Just because we share the same experience, we have the same suffering. So the more we understand our own suffering, the more we can understand others. We can become more compassionate. That's why we have to understand this. What is compassion? Compassion has this openness, the open mind, the care for everybody, and the empathy, and we have the understanding of others, people, position, situation. We understand the suffering of others, because if we put ourselves on the other people's shoes, we understand. How is it like? So if this is how we feel, so we don't want to do that to others, isn't it? They said the more we understand the suffering, the more we be able to understand the suffering of others. So we always have to start with ourselves, to understand ourselves, to look at ourselves. So actually, it reminds me of this one of the story that a little girl that is an article that was written by a doctor. So he used to have all these stories, and one day, and he used to see a morning that's a little girl about 8 years old. So she's hanging around in the hospital. So this doctor said, "Why this little girl 8 years old? She's supposed to go to school. Why she's hanging around?" So he started to pay attention to this girl, and then he started to ask around, the nurse. So what happened to this girl? So then he found out that this girl, that the mother come to the hospital 3 times a week to have dialysis. So when the mother come for the dialysis, she can't go to school. She come because her mother, when her mother pregnant, her mother have this high blood pressure. Then she has this causes her the kidney not functioning, and she have to have this dialysis, and it's also lead to other complications that she's become blind. And her husband couldn't cope with that because the wife with these conditions, with this illness, and with a little girl, and he have to work. So he ran away. He left the wife. So leaving behind this little girl, and she's blind. She bring up her daughter, alone. So and this doctor tried to talk to this little girl, and ask how is she doing, and then she said, while her mother having the dialysis, sometimes she go to the canteen to help to do some washing up, so that she can have a bit of a meal, to earn some a meal to eat for herself and her mom, 8 years old girl. And just imagine, he was so touched. He said, 8 years old girl, so supposed to be in the parents, arms, that is supposed to go to school, pampered by the parents, but she's have to go out to earn her living, to wash up, to earn for a meal. So he started to talk to her, and then she said that, I can wash clothes, I know how to iron, I know how to cook. She looked after her mom, 8 years old girl. But she said, sometimes I'm a bit naughty, she said. Because I'm lazy, I didn't wash my clothes. And my mom smelled that I'm smelly. And I was beaten by my mom. So the doctors laughed. He said, okay. So he said, why don't you run if your mom hit you? She said, no, I can't run. So, because if I started to run, my mom is going to chase me. If she started to chase me, she fall over. And it hurts my mom. It hurts my mom, it hurts me. 8 years old girl, have the compassion, have the kindness, the caring, the understanding that things hurts others, hurts ourselves. She can understand the suffering of her mom, only 8 years old girl. Sometimes we have this complaint about others have done us wrong. We're really ashamed of ourselves, isn't it, compared to a little girl, 8 years old girl. That's why that's how we can see the suffering. We feel the suffering, we know the suffering others, so we reflect on that. So things hurts ourselves, hurts others. Some things hurts others, it hurts ourselves, Same, we share the inner connectedness. We are not, separate from other beings. We all are inner connected. So the Buddha said, the reason why we not be able to free ourselves from the suffering, we wander in the cycle of rebirth, because we don't understand suffering. So when we understand suffering, then we free ourselves. Because we don't understand suffering, this is part of life. So lots of things happen in our life. We can't help it. Like we're getting old, we're getting sick. That's unavoidable. We can't avoid. But at least we can change our relationship, how we look at life, with kindness, with compassion. So when we understand suffering, actually this wisdom, this compassion, you have the wisdom that you understand suffering. When you understand suffering, you understand non-self. So when you see the non-self, you see that it's impermanent. So when we see the impermanent, that is based on that three characteristics, based on this understanding. This compassion is based on that. So the more we understand life, then then we will become more at ease and at peace. We don't fight. So we know that this is just part of life. We accept whatever condition. Have compassion towards ourselves. Even we have compassion towards those that are not compassion. That is part of life. And I find that this compassion is reflect on that is very useful, because sometimes from my personal experience, that sometimes I find that even you try to use loving kindness doesn't work when you're really in that boiling and you have lots of anger, when you're really agitated. Sometimes you try to send loving kindness. It's very difficult. Just imagine someone really, press a button and really, causes you lots of suffering and or being abusive to you, and then you try to send loving kindness. I find that it doesn't work. I try very hard, doesn't work. And I would like to share with you my experience that I have this experience that actually I worked with that for 10 days. I couldn't, every day, I try very hard. My mind just keep, so agitated and boiling. I cannot get to very difficult to calm myself down. I find it very difficult because when I was in many years ago, when I was still a lay person, when I was in Thailand, so I used to practice a lot of solitude and seclusions by myself. And of course, when you are by yourself, it's so peaceful and calm. So I was so happy and so peaceful and so calm. And I was thinking that I'm such a wonderful person. I'm so peaceful. I'm so lovely. I'm so helpful. I help everybody, I'm so happy. Until one day, my teacher appeared. So this lady come to stay in the monastery. She having this. She have this mental problem. So she following me everywhere. The first day she come, she said, "Can I stay with you in your kuti?" I said, "No way." I said, "I want to be by myself. I don't know you. I don't want to stay with you." She said, No. I accompany you. You accompany me. We talk Dhamma." So I said, "No, I do not need that." So she kept following me everywhere I go like a shadow. And I feel really agitated and irritated. And then she liked to talk nonsense, talking all things that not related to the practice and really nonsense. And then she following me until a point that I can't stand. And I blow up. And I look at her, I said, "You crazy woman." I said, "You get out." I said, "Don't follow me. Leave me alone. I just want to be by myself. I said, "Please leave me alone." And I said, "You really crazy." I said, "I don't want to see you anymore." Actually, the moment when I said that, I regret it. I know that it's being unkind. But that moment, I just could not hold myself, that I really put it out, that out of anger, out of agitations, that is unwholesome speech. And I was really I regretted that I said that. But what can I do? Done. It's just like the water, when you pour it out, it's out. I can't pull back. "Oh, excuse me, that's not." I put it back, I bring it back. No, I can't. So then I told myself, okay, I determined that no matter what, I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to restrain myself. I determined that I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to, because she tried to make me angry. When I'm angry, she's very happy. And what she does, like for example, like when we working in the kitchen, when I filled up those like coffee, tea, afternoon drinks, working in the kitchen, she'll come and push me. She really pushed me, She said, "Let me do it." It's really annoying, I really hold myself, bite back my tongue, not to say things. It's not easy, I can tell you. I was really agitated. It's very, very irritated. Inside, I was boiling. So I hold myself, okay, I let her be. I walk away and do other things. And she saw me do other things. She put her thing down. She come and push me away. I want to do this. So, okay, fine. So I was thinking, fine. As long as I quickly finish my work after dana, I run back to my kuti so I can escape. She will not come and disturb me anymore. But unfortunately, she come to my kuti. When I was meditating, I was sitting there, just started to meditate, close my eyes and, then she come to my kuti and she called me. And my lay name is Peng. She called me Peng. I just ignore her. I just sit there and meditate. Actually, I started to feel irritated, sitting there was so irritated. And she said, Peng. I ignore her. She said, Peng, Peng. I ignore her. Peng. I ignore her. Wow. You are in jhana. You are such a great meditator. I was sitting in my kuti. I was boiling like anything. I couldn't calm down. I tell you, I cannot calm down. It takes me so long, inside so boiling. And I use everything. I used to send loving kindness. Maybe she well unhappy. Maybe she well unhappy. The more I said that, the more angry, She should be well unhappy, Doesn't work. I'm still angry. Doesn't work, And I try to say, doesn't matter. Why I want to get upset with her? She's just crazy. But I still got upset. Even though I know that she's crazy, I can't help myself. So what to do? So I started to look at myself. I asked myself, and I turned around. That time I really tried all the possibility, different tools, to how to overcome this anger, this, I not peaceful. I cannot calm my mind at all. It's so boiling. So, okay, then I started to, I started to look at the suffering. So, look at my own suffering, how I feel this moment. And I ask myself, why this suffering? And I look at my suffering. Then I try to put myself onto her shoes, and I try to use, and I even to try to rejoice in her goodness, the fact that she come to the monastery and offer dana. So I try to look at the good things, and being have this problem and already suffering. So then I started to see the suffering of her. So, and I try to put myself onto her shoes, that how she feel like. If I were her, how do I feel? Do I feel the same? There's so much suffering. Then I try to look at the suffering of myself and her. Is that there is any different? And actually, it's helped me to calm down. It's really helped me. Then I can see the ultimately like that. And I ask myself, I don't have to be responsible for her deed, isn't it? But if I react to that, I have to be responsible, for my own unwholesome state of mind. Then I feel sorry. Then I started to feel sorry for that, that because of she's the one who have to be responsible for her own unwholesome deed, that she's disturbing someone, when someone meditating. And it's really agitated. So, okay, it's really helped me to calm myself down. But of course, I work with that, I calm down. And it actually takes me a long time to calm down, so I feel better, peaceful. Of course, next day, when you're in the same situation, and I was stirred up again. It's not easy. She stirred me up again. And I keep working with that. And actually, it's really take me 10 days. Really 10 days, it's very difficult to be peaceful. That is keep coming, the mind just go on and on. I can't control the mind. It just keep going and going. Even though theoretically I understand that, to let that go. But the mind wouldn't. So I keep working with that. I keep, focus on that, contemplate on the compassion, the suffering of other beings, my own suffering, that I keep working with that until the 10 days. The 10 days, that is after 10 days, because I didn't have a peaceful, all the 10 days I don't really have peaceful meditation for 10 days, only after the 10 days, that is after 10 days, the first time I experienced the peace. That I was sitting there, I was reflecting and contemplating the sufferings of myself, the sufferings of others, and I was really in tears. And slowly I just see that, and after that I started to feel the relief, the openness in my heart. I feel that, that before that my heart, my chest is very tight, very tight because of we holding on, we can't let go. And slowly when I letting go and I feel the relief, then I come to that state of really peaceful and really calm. And I just, at last, I let that go, and just such a relief. And I feel so peaceful. Then after 10 days is the first time I experienced a really wonderful peace and calm. So actually, compassion is, you have the quality, you have the peaceful and calm mind. If we feel agitated or we feel very emotional, then there is no compassion, because we get involved. And we take others people, make others people problem to become our problem. We make it our problem. So then that is not wise, because it's happened to lots of people when they started to develop this compassion, they try to develop this quality, and that they becomes like get involved and identify themselves with that emotion, and that becomes like have sadness and grief, sorrow. If we have that, then that is not compassion. So that is, and sometimes we get sometimes we practice compassion can make our ego even bigger. That is a near enemy of compassion. That is pity. We think that, poor thing, I forgive you. That is come from the pity, we pity others. It's not. So compassion is not a matter of you pity others. It's not. You come from the true understanding of the suffering of yourself and the suffering of others. Then this is really true compassion. So to develop these qualities, then when we have this, we feel there is the softness, the gentleness in our heart. So only when we have this peace in our heart, and only with this inner peace, then we can offer to the world. It's benefit the world. Sometimes we think that all the conflicts, in the world, all the fights, and all this anger, arguments in the world, they have nothing to do with us. So we do not, it's very difficult for us to believe that. But actually when we look at that, we do have that conflict in our own heart. But if we have this inner peace, we can offer that. We benefit others. If people sit beside you, they can feel, the energy, the compassion, the love, that from our heart. Actually, we can feel that. If someone have lots of agitation and irritation, actually, you get affected. Like, for example, someone today come and talk to me that about doing, community work. Sometimes, all the time you have to be with the person, have lots of negativity. So the kind of energy, unless you have this calm mind, your mind is strong enough, you get pulled in. It's really overwhelming. They say it's important that you develop this peace, through compassion, to develop this peaceful mind, this calm mind. So only when we have this mind, this peaceful mind, and it's strong mind, then we are happy. So a compassionate mind is a happy mind, it's a peaceful mind. So it's very important that we have to come from the right understanding to know that this is just part of life, So because I remember what of this? I'm trying to say someone that yes. There's a very common, like some of my friends that when they come to Buddhism, when they becomes attached, to compassion, and then they're being compassion to all the friends, but not to the families. Yes, because become an identity attached to who they are, a compassionate person. Then that is not come from the right view, the right understanding. So that's why it's very important that we have this the right understanding. So whenever we have this, when we have to check ourselves, if whether our wholesome state of mind increase or our unwholesome state of mind decrease. If our wholesome state of mind increase and unwholesome state of mind decrease, that means we are heading on the right directions, we are on the right path. But after we have practiced, then if we are picked up on the wrong end of the stick, and we become the unwholesome state of mind increase, wholesome state of mind decrease, that is we are not on the right path. Then we really have to look into that. So we are not really practicing compassion. So we think that we are, but actually we are not. That's why it's until that we experience that. That's like for in this case, like for example, just now when I talk about this little girl, about the husband left the wife, and of course a lot of people would judge, said that it's really horrible, he's terrible, how come he leave his wife, Actually, it's very easy for us to judge, to say someone that you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Because we are not that person, isn't it? It's very easy for us to judge others, isn't it? If we ask ourselves, I ask myself, actually when I read this story, when I asked myself, if I were the husband, I might not be able to cope with that, isn't it? To have the wife have that illness, and to have a little girl, you need to work, and because one of the easiest way to run away when you don't know the skillful means to cope with that. Now, if we can really understand, sometimes each time when someone makes us angry, causes us hurts, we feel offended, we ask ourselves, if we were the person, how do we react? Maybe we react the same thing. Maybe we do the same thing. Sometimes we think that, we have this self-pity, We think that, oh, poor thing, poor me, I have to put up with all these people. But we have forgotten other people have to put up with us, isn't it? Sometimes we think that, that person is terrible, they have done this to me. But actually we did the same thing to others. Until we really look at ourselves, we check, we ask ourselves. So it's very easy to judge others. So before we judge others, the first thing we ask ourselves, if we were that person, how would I deal with this situation? Sometimes it's easy for others to say that you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Because we are not that person. We are not in the person situation. We are not in the person position. So the more we can reflect on that, then we develop this big heart. We can easily forgive. It's become more natural type It's not the kind of, with willpower. This is with the wisdom power, with the right understanding, the understanding of suffering. The Buddha said, the first noble truth. Only when we know that is understand the suffering, we will look for the cause of suffering. So when we know the cause of suffering, then that is the ending of suffering. That is really leading, that is a path. That is the Noble Eightfold Path. So we are very fortunate that we have this whole path, that is the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha's point, there's the way, how to practice. We are very fortunate. So each one of us have to deal with our own suffering, our own defilements. So we can't live for others, and others can't live for us. And we can't live for others too. So ultimately, we really have to take up the whole path of practice. There is no easy way and no shortcut. We really, really have to. It can be done. I just share this with you. If you think that this is useful, you can take it back and you can use it. If you think that it's rubbish, so you just put it back and you just dump it into the bin. So forget about it, what I have said. It doesn't matter what I said. But if you find that this is useful to you, you can use it. I just share this with you. So any questions or comments? The microphone.
Venerable, have you got any suggestions with when you get angry with yourself and you're just boiling because you feel that you're trying to do something and you're trying to achieve it and you want to achieve it and you get angry with yourself and you think, why can't I do this? Would you recommend going to the cause of suffering in that sense?
Actually, yes, I had that too when I was. I used to. I used to be a perfectionist, and everything have to be perfect. so sometimes I got upset with myself. Even I just did a small mistake because it's not perfect. So actually, I find that a good way is to just reflect, and to have this loving kindness towards ourselves, wishing ourselves well, and to accept that the fact that we are still upset, we are angry, because sometimes I angry myself that the fact that I'm angry.
Yeah.
And I realized that, and I started to investigate, where is it coming from? Then I realized that it comes from my own ego, because my sense of self, that my own ego, because I think that I shouldn't be angry. I'm beyond, I'm above, all this year practice, I should be, beyond. So I got upset because it comes from the ego. The sense of self. We are not accepting where we at, who we are. Sometimes we even have to have the forgiveness towards ourselves. If sometimes we can't forgive ourselves, we even have to forgive ourselves that the fact that we can't forgive ourselves. It's true, Sometimes I find fault with myself, you damn stupid, how come you make such a small mistake? because I was a perfectionist and causes myself lots of suffering. I remember the mind go on and on until a point that I have enough suffering. I said, okay, come on. Face it, accept it, the fact that you're not there yet. That is actually partly is our own ego, our sense of self. We holding on to who we are. We are not accepting that. That is really causes the suffering. So that's why sometimes I find that my personal experience, I find that asking yourself questions actually is a very useful thing, because we all do have the potential. We all do have the awareness. We do have the awakening mind. It's only that we don't want to look at it. We do. This is how sometimes I started to ask myself questions. I keep asking myself questions. Why you do this? Why you then? Actually, I got answer from myself. Like when I realized that I can't forgive myself, and I got upset with myself, the fact that I'm upset. And I started to question. And I realized that come from the sense of self. Deep inside my own ego. So my big ego. So is it answer your questions and make sense to you?
Pretty much, yeah.
I find that it's very good. You keep asking yourself.
Yeah.
Like for example, when I got upset, like someone made me angry. So like I said, oh, why? How dare she said that to me? Then I started to ask myself, why not? Then I feel a bit, why not? Who she thinks she is? Then I ask myself, so what do you think? And I realized that each time I keep asking, actually I got the answer for myself. Actually, we all do have that. Not to underestimate your own potential, that awakening mind. We do have that. The Buddha said, if I teach the Dhamma to all of you, he said, if you listen to the Dhamma, if you put into practice, if not be able to free yourself and get enlightened, I will not teach you. So all of us have the potential. It's there. It's already there. The jewel, the treasure is deep inside us. It's just waiting for us to uncover. That's the treasure. We don't have to go out to look. Look inside yourself. Keep asking yourself. Keep investigating yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there any more question or comment? So there's no more questions? Then it's going, gone.